Welcome back to the morning show here on ETV on this Tuesday morning. And you know what that means? We're joined by our African spirituality advisor, our CM Kiza, this morning. He is here to speak to us about relationships between siblings. We're going to speak about lineage. We're going to speak about some of the ceremonies that need to be performed for children, depending on certain circumstances. Kamazel, good morning.
Morning.
All right.
Galaxies.
We are about to speak about something that, you know, a lot of people probably have questions about. And you at home, of course, you can start sending us your voice notes on 072-411-6528 if you have any questions regarding some of the circumstances that your child or your children have been born under, and you want to know what is the right thing to do, how do I correct certain things that have happened. Let's start with children born out of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the ceremonies that are performed for children in that kind of a situation? Noma mhlambe ingane ngiyongena nayo emshadweni engiza nayo from ngaphandle ngenze njani?
Okay. So ingane that is born out of wedlock, what first needs to happen, obviously bayakhona bayobikisis. To say no, our child has been impregnated by your son. Okay. Now, depending on the circumstance between the mother and the father, right, they need to decide one of two things. Are they going to allow the child to change the surname athathi sibongo sika baba wakhe or not? Because that determines whether nigeza umuzi or niyahlawula. Right? Because you don't do both of them. There's a difference between the two. Well, unless, of course, uthatha umntombi back, then it's different. You're going to most likely have to do both. Mm-hmm. But if, for instance, so if you're going to say ukuthi le ngane, we're going to allow the father to take the surname, the child's going to take the father's surname, then bazogeza umuzi and bakhipha ilobolo for ingane.
Ingane, right.
If there's no surname change that's going to take place, ingane bazohlawula kuphela. Now, you can't say to me hlawula if there are other babies that have come before. Ngoba ngokwesintu icala lokuqala needs to be resolved first. So in other words, if you have 2 or 3 kids from 2 or 3 different fathers, the first father is the one responsible for ukuhlawula nokugeza umuzi. Umuzi ugezwa kanye, umuntu uhlawulwa kanye. Because I mean, sometimes you hear this thing where umuntu is like, no, I'm saying this because I'm hearing there's a lot of men out here that are being made to hlawula, and so you ask the families, ni hlawula I?
So what happens then, Sia, if yes, this is not my first child as the woman, but it is your first child as the man? How would that then work? So you have your first child with me, but I already have 5 other children.
Yes. So in that case, ngizolobola kuphela. That's it.
Ulobola ingane yami.
Ngilobola ingane yami. Awukwazi ukungihlawulisa. Ngihlawula ini exactly? Because I didn't take umuntombi bakho, right? On top of that, icala lokuqala sat with the first father of the first child.
Right.
So, and if the father of the first child usehlawulile wageza umuzi, umuzi ugezwa kanye, umuntu uhlawula kanye. So a lot of men here are being made to hlawula to see their kids, and then you ask the families, uhlawula in. And a lot of families, number one, there's a lot of freestyling of this into that's going around. They're saying, ukuthi uhlawula ingane, but it's baby number 3. Or, but no, lobola ingane. Babizi inkomo ezu-6, bathi inkomo kamama, inkomo kagogo, and then the other 4 I'm not going to explain. You can't do that. Every cow needs to have a purpose. And if uzolobola ingane, you start by saying ukuthi ubani wakhulisa ingane, who played a pivotal role in raising the child? Umama no aunt. Kusho ukuthi sekuyinkomo ezimbili. Right? So lezinye ezu-4, where do they come from? Again, it goes back to this misunderstanding of spirituality. Because leyo ngane ngesikhathi iphuma, izophuma nesikweletu, and then ngesikhathi ingena kaMkhize, it's going to come with spiritual burdens because kuneyinkomo ezakhishwa for leyo ngane unjustifiably, or spiritually in an incorrect manner.
And then what happens then in the case of infidelity? Sekhona ke ingane ezalwayo ngaphandle kobudlelwane bami nawe mhlawumbe sishadile or we're in a relationship uhlawulile walobola wenza zonke izinto ezi-right bese kuba khona ingane evelayo ngaphandle.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about 2 instances. The first instance is where the child is conceived just before getting married, and then the second instance is the child being conceived in perfect wedlock. The child conceived just before getting married, and then uyayithula uyathula, you keep the secret, and then ingane iyangeniswa nje kahle, and they do imbeleko for the child. When, as umama, you need to go back home to your family, ubike indaba. Then your family bazoyothenga inkomo. They're going to come to abakamkhize. Bathi nayi indaba, siyayibeka, size la ukugeza umuzi. So niyawugeza umuzi ngenkomo from your side of the family for icala that's happened. Okay? The same principle applies if the child was conceived in perfect wedlock. Your family comes to my family, bazogeza umuzi. But if the child is conceived before umgcaco, before perfect wedlock, leyo ngane akuyona ilongwe. Cannot be a child yakamkhize. It goes back to your maiden surname.
Right.
But if the child is conceived in perfect wedlock, all right, leyo ngane ilongwe. Ingane eyakamkhize.
Yakamkhize.
And I know it's a sore one, and I know a lot of men are going to probably lose their minds watching this. And they say, no, it goes back. And I'm saying, okay, fine. Let's take it back to the spiritual principles of umgcaco, right? What are the spiritual implications when you say a woman is going to leave her home and enter your home? And uzobe ingane yakamkhize. What does that mean? It's a one-way valve, right? So all that you will give birth to will be yakamkhize. And the thing is with men, especially in South Africa sometimes, is we like to pick and choose when to apply culture. Right? So ingane, it's a tough pill to swallow, but ingane, if you're going to marry a woman, you must understand ukuthi leyo ngane ezoyithola if akuyona yakho usumthele ngenyongo, or whatever the case may be, whatever your culture does to solidify the covenant of marriage, that means leyo ngane izoba ingane yakamkhize.
Yeah,
And there are many men that decide to keep quiet. Bayazi iqiniso, but they keep quiet, bayayikhulisa ingane njengayo, because the day babangumsindo ingane isidinga ukugezwa. But the thing eshaya ingane ezilong is the fact that the mothers die with the secret, right? I actually had a client this morning before coming here, and she's in this situation. But manje, the issue is that ingane yagula, but ingane iguliswa ukuthi they've already done imbeleko for the child at the wrong surname.
The wrong surname.
Right? The husband's surname.
Right.
So now she's asking me, is there a way to bypass that? Yes, there is.
What is
There
that?
are healers here who are able to deceive and bypass idlos. In other words, you trick idlos lekamkhize ukuthi no lengane yakamkhize. But then as soon as you bypassing usuganga ngayo ingane.
Yes, because
a form of-
igazi lengane akulona alisho ukuthi mkhize.
So to deceive idlos, you do have to dabble in the dark side. But it is possible. So wangibuza ukuthi siyabonga, is it possible? Not yes, it's possible. But ngeke ngikusize ngalokho because that's not what we do.
But then would the right thing then be to just divulge and say lengane akuyona kamkhize? It's simple as that.
Exactly.
And then what happens uma ke siya ingane out of when we're talking of infidelity, it is the man now who has a child outside of the marriage. Lapho umsebenzi noma okuzokufanele kwenziwe okuright ikuphi?
It's similar to pretty much the same thing. Mina as indoda, I have betrayed your trust and I have broken the covenant sedlozi.
Yeah.
Yabo kusho ukuthi nami ngimele ngixolise on you at your side of the family. You see? So everybody sometimes as and this is why I was saying we like to pick and choose when to apply it, right? Because when a man has a child outside of wedlock, it's okay, akabegezela and understands. But when a woman does, it's
a totally different story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in essence, the same thing needs to apply. Because if mina ngizogcina imfihlo yengane yangaphandle, ingane that you and I have zizoshayeka. Because idlozi is going to be like tshela umakoti about le ngane efikile. Khuluma iqiniso. A lot of the problems that we have bakwethu are caused by the lack of iqiniso. If everybody just told the truth about who the father is and where the child is and what, then I wouldn't have a business, and we'd be fine. But a lot of our problems are self-inflicted. A lot of them are self-inflicted.
And a lot of people bayakhula empilweni izinto ayihlangani abayiboni indlela because iqiniso alizange liphume from abazali. So kuyahamba kuhambe kushaya
I'll always say ukuthi 99% of your problems zisuka from your parents. Inkinga zengane zami zisuka from mina noma wakhe.
Right.
Same with if ubaba said no to idlozi or uma said no, I'm not going. I don't know where I'd be now. So if you want to know the bulk of where your issues come from, chat to your parents. And if they're not giving you answers, kusho ukuthi nabo they didn't get answers from their parents.
Sure. You're more than welcome to send us your voice notes on 072-411-6528. Maybe you have a question that you want to ask Usiam Kiza this morning. You can do that. You can send us a video as well. You're more than welcome to do that. We take a short ad break now. We come back with more here on The Morning Show. Stay with us. You're still watching The Morning Show on ETV. We're still sitting with our African spirituality advisor, Usiam Kiza. We're speaking today about siblings and some of, the ceremonies that need to be done for your children, depending on the various circumstances under which they are born. Sia, thank you so much for staying with us. Let's continue our conversation and then speak about things such as luck, things such as blessings that your siblings might have, and you find yourself not having the same luck. Could that be because of the circumstances under which you were born?
Oh, definitely. It can be under the circumstances under which you were born. So if when a wingane, mhlambe, let's say you've got two siblings and then you're the last born and your two siblings are perfectly fine. What sometimes happens is that if there were many miscarriages or deaths in the family, or mhlambe before your birth, your mother had a dream where ebenikezwa, right, from your grandmother or grandfather, when kunomsebenzi wokubonga that you were supposed to receive. Most of the time, what you will find is when there's two siblings or three siblings that are successful and the one isn't, it's either because one, ingane izale embed. Number two, ingane idinga umsebenzi wokubonga. Or number three, ingane idinga ukukhuliswa or ukumuliswa, depending on whether you're a male or female. Males, bayakhuliswa. Women, girl children, bayamuliswa, umemu.
Right. So, uma sikhuluma ngale ngane mhlambe ezelwe yembethe, are we not usually just saying leyo ngane is the one that is going to have the most luck?
Yes, if nenza umsebenzi for ingane ezale embethe.
Right.
Not necessarily, not le yokubuyisa ingubo. Ave beyithanda ukubuyisa ingubo. Ingubo ihambile.
Right.
You know what? No gqoka umhlwehlwe ulala ngawo. Manje usugijine iintuthane zigijima phezu kwakho because of le ngubo.
Yes.
All you need to do, hlabana imbuzi bantu abadala siwamkela the person that unelisiwe is born with. Sisicela izinto zakhe zivuleke zikhanye zibe mhlophe. Thokoza makwande. Nquma imbuzi, gazi inyongo umswane simgeze unelisiwe. Sivuleke into zakhe. When ufika nephupho ugogo, let's say ufika ugogo nomaqwetha, right? Ugogo nomaqwetha ufuna ukuthi uthathe igama lakhe. Uthatha igama lakhe but awukwazi ukulithatha igama just.
Yes.
Hlabenya imbuzi yesibili usuyalikhunga ke manje igama, right? So you cleanse the name, you ask ugogo nomaqwetha for the blessing of the name, bakuthele ngenyongo, now abantu bakubiza ngonomaqwetha. So you're using the right name, you welcome the person who's sitting with your blessings, bada boom bada bang, ziyavuleka izinto. No twasering, no kobongo, no enzumdigi.
Just embuzi.
Finished.
Nothing embuzi cannot fix. We have some voice notes that you've sent through to us with your questions and some of your concerns, probably that you want to raise with Ukabazela. Here are your voice notes. Let's roll them.
Hi, morning show. But siyabengicela ukubuza ne. Let's say ngiba nomntana oqala ne, and then efamilini yakabo baba umntwana bafuna ukuhlawula umntwana, and then my parents bathi inhlawulo kuzoba yi-10,000 rand. So bengicela ukubuza ukuthi i-amount yokuhlawula umntwana ikhona or kule 10,000 yini ebalwayo cause inhlawulo kuphela or sekubalwa nokugeza umuzi and or maybe inhlawulo kuphela yokugeza umuzi isasesayidini.
And this is definitely probably what you were talking about. Ukuthi ekuhambeni kuba khona freestyling enzakalayo, ama influences that are external.
Exactly.
Nokunga understand ukuthi uyawugeza umuzi, uyahlawula, uyalobola.
So if they say uzohlawula, that's a classic case of uhlawula ini. Akamchazelanga ubaba just say no uhlawula. Uhlawula ini. If you're going to charge someone for something, if I don't know what bakunikeza i-invoice epike lokuza nesitolo, and then just leave it blank, and then there's just saying amount due. Yabo. Ubaba wakhe akachaza ukuthi uhlawula ini. Mhlawumbe waba ukuthi no, uthatha ubuntombi bakhe.
Yes.
Then he must say ukuthi that's what I'm ngihlawulisa lokho. Or no, why phika ingane? Then ageza umuzi. Or no, wena you abused my child, gezumuzi. You can't just say to me, hlawula. Yabo, ngihlawula ini exactly. And the fact that ubaba, if she doesn't understand ukuthi uhlawula ini, kusho ukuthi naye ubaba wakhe doesn't understand ukuthi uhlawula ini.
Yeah.
Which begs the question ukuthi, naye ubaba wakhe, where does he get his knowledge?
And how are we determining these amounts?
Exactly.
Ukuthi imbuzi eyodwa, imbuzi kababa, inkomo kamama.
10,000, you can't just
Some side,
10,000. Yabo, because if uzothi le ngane can take the father's surname, fine. Abefike nembuzi or inkomo bageza umuzi and then sekukhulunywa indaba yamalobolo.
All right, let me see if we have time for just one more voice note that we can listen to very quickly.
Good morning, show. Mina ngisacela ukubuza ukuthi uma ubaba ingane yokuqala angahlawulanga angalobolanga umntwana then ngangena kwenye relationship lo muntu enginaye manje ufuna ukushada mina nomntwana kenzeka kanjani ke manje?
Classic case, a lot of times where the stepfather wants to marry both mother and father. Yenzeka lento. It's very popular and it's causing us a lot of headaches. Stepchildren should never, ever, ever stake the stepfather's surname. I know there's people that are going to say, no, but minengi rights. And I'm like, yeah, that's what this business is about, right? It's fixing problems that started at your generation.
Right.
No. I always say to people, how I operate is this. You can either hear me out for free or your son can sit in front of my son, ngelinye ilanga. So what I'm trying to do is, so when I say to you, ukuthi le nkinga le of stepchildren taking stepfather's surnames is causing issues, it's because I'd never want your son or your daughter, Nelisiwe, to sit in front of my son or my daughter asking for spiritual help or guidance because of ubaba that was like, no, all the children in this home must have my surname.
So even outside of having the surname, indaba yokuthi mhlambe uma uthi ulobola umama wengane, ingane le awuyiloboli yona.
Azikho inkomo eziphumayo for a stepchild. Azikho inkomo.
So we do hope that you have been answered. You can continue the conversation with Usiam Kize on his social media platforms. He will be able to help you. He does post a lot of advice on the various social media platforms, so you can go on there if you want more help or more information. For now, though, we take a short ad break here on The Morning Show. We come back with your news.